go. The fans are amazing, and we're ready to see this action after day 1 and day 2. It's hard to believe that this is going to top it all.
That's right. What a competition it was, day 1 and day 2. And now we get to get here the 50 best who have really crawled their way, battled their way through the brackets for the first ever of its kind in person here. Imagine you make it this far, and then you have to make it to Sunday, but this will be Championship Sunday.
Yeah, all these players, they've battled it out. Some even playing 2 days just to get to this point. You got to imagine the nerves are high, but for some, those are non-existent. They're ready to take the stage. They're ready to put on a show and claim that Axe of Champions and that beautiful trophy, of course.
And you really have to be, because $4 million is on the line, of course. And if you are the team to take first place, everything can change right before your eyes. And what better way to do it than in this awesome venue? So let's go ahead and tune in with the stage with Frankie.
Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, it's mad to think that history is about to be made on this very stage in Copenhagen. The winners will share $1 million. But none of those duos backstage are thinking about the prize money. They're just thinking about proving that they and their region are the best in the world at Fortnite. And they get to do it in front of one of the best audiences I have had the pleasure of spending time with. We've got so many incredible fans and families out here. So many mums and dads who really know their way around a Fortnite build as well. Definitely better than me. Maybe I need to duo with some of them in the future. And really just a feeling of wanting to support everyone that's going to appear on stage. Of course, people do have their favorites, but at the same time, we just want to share in the best moment of these players' lives. And we also have some incredible people in the Creators Lounge, and I know that Kelly's going to be talking to some of them today. Kelly, where you at?
That is right, Frankie. I am here in the Creator Lounge, and the energy is absolutely electric. And I've already been to the stadium. I can't wait to see the fans lose their minds once we kick off the competition. But it's almost a bittersweet moment. This journey started all the way a year ago in Major 1, and for the fact that it's all coming down to this, for 50 of the best duos competing for the lion's share of $4 million. I almost can't believe it, but I'm so excited to get things started, and I'm so excited to head on over to 3 of my favorite people. Let's see what Zeke has to say.
Kelly, you know we're excited as well. I mean, vibes are high. The arena is packed. They are all feeling good. We are feeling good as well. As Kelly mentioned, though, $4 million prize pool here at Global Championship. The duo that walks away in that #1 spot, $1 million. And you know, friends, the thing that Kelly actually mentioned yesterday, think about the difference. A single point could be the difference maker in $350,000.
A single point, a single game, right? I already mentioned it, how volatile the matches have been throughout the upper bracket and the lower bracket. So I'll be expecting teams to be gaining thousands of dollars based on one of these matches. But of course, Levin, they're fighting for something else.
Yeah, it's not just the money, it's the trophy as well. You'd be surprised. You talk to a lot of those players backstage, Zeke, and a lot of them will tell you, yeah, the money's all right, but I want the trophy.
Yeah.
Right? That's what they really want, right? You know, to be able to have that is something truly, truly special. And of course, the money's great as well. We could all use $1 million, I'm sure.
Of course, but there is that title, Global Champions, right? Undeniably, hey, we are some of the best duos in the world. We've got the accolades to back up that claim. Now, let's set this in perspective. Let's take a look at our lobby list. Let's see who will be watching compete today. This is probably the craziest lobby I think I've ever seen in Fortnite history. Invitational came pretty close. This, though, Levin, this takes us to a whole other level.
I mean, when you say the best of the best, it really doesn't get better than this. You look at, you know, some of the best players in obviously the big regions, some of the biggest names in the world of competitive Fortnite. You really start to hear some cheers from Mr. Savage and Video there. You know, people happy to see them here. But even then, right, from some of the regions that maybe historically aren't as big as the EU and the NAs of the world, you know, some of their best players from there still representing, still getting a chance to show up on this stage.
Love the fact that you're bringing up the representation from other regions. 23 EU duos, 18 NA duos, 4 Asian duos, 3 from the Brazilian region, 1 from Oceania, and 1 from Middle East. And honestly, Levin, looking at this list, the thing that I love the most about the format, right, throughout the entire year is that every duo's story is different.
Oh, 100%. right? Certain teams have had it easy, breezy. Certain Major 1 teams, right? They started the year hot, were able to cruise through the rest of the year. Some of the other teams, it was only in last chance major they were able to make it through. Even then, even from where they've qualified, right? How those teams have performed, the battles they've had at their POI in real life. Everybody has a story to tell coming into this one. And we're going to see it wrapped up after 6 games.
So wild. I'm already getting hype. I got to contain myself. Z, calm down. Let's talk about a duo that got a victory royale yesterday. Iamzo and Rise. A duo from NA. A duo that we just all had expectations for. And man, did they deliver.
What it would mean to me to win the global championship would be my first FNCS win and feel nice.
What it would mean for me to win the FNCS global championship would put us on the map as one of the best teams in North America and represent our region on a global stage.
Iamzo and Rise from NA, they've been favorites to win pretty much every single major throughout the year. And they are favorites even for this weekend as well, the global championship, and for good reason. 3rd place in major number 1, 4th place in major number 2, and then 3rd place in major number 3. How have they been so consistent?
Look, if you ask me who I think has been the best team in NA over the course of the year, I would say these guys. So consistent. Their play style is just mesmerizing, right? It doesn't matter what layer you put them in the end game, they are comfortable.
Exactly. And honestly, listen, to me, it comes down to the strategies that they implement, right? We saw them. They were playing around the caches, right? Making sure they got some of those slurp juices throughout the majors.
Look, they've been coached by BloodX this year. And they've been looking like a lot of the other BloodX teams you see in EU, where these guys are comfortable. They'll look up for height when it's available. But even if they don't get it, they'll play those mid-ground layers to perfection. Iamzo, one of the best fraggers in the world. He's been unbelievable, mastered everything you can master in this game. And Rise is an IGL, so comfortable, so cool, so calm, so collected, always ready.
Yeah, and sometimes we talk about strategy, right? And usually teams, they kind of have something that they like to play into. But for Iamzo and Rise, I feel like they are just good at every single one, right? High ground, mid ground, and low ground.
You talk about high ground. Let's talk about a duo contesting that high ground. It's your FNCS Invitational winners, Cammy and Seti.
What would it mean to me to win the global championship? I think it would be an amazing feeling because we both worked so hard for this. It would be a back-to-back winning words, just like very nicely.
What would it mean for me winning the global championship? It would mean really a lot because the prize pool is like 4 times higher than it was the last time, and we would win back-to-back, so it would be really nice to win it again.
The team with all the pressure on them, right? The reigning champions, people see them as... Have we got some Cammy and Seti fans in here? Anyone in there supporting Cammy and Seti?
There it is.
They're here. They're here.
Me as well. You know, I mean, I should start cheering because, yeah, you mentioned it, right? Going for the back-to-back at international events. I guess the biggest question for everybody, Levin, can they do it?
I think the answer is a resounding yes, as long as they are uncontested, right? I think coming into this competition, people who thought they'd be uncontested consider them probably the favorites, right? Their form coming into this has been unbelievable, but there is always going to be that question mark. We saw what happened in game 1 of the upper bracket qualifiers. When they were contested, they got beat off spawn. It didn't quite work out. They did bounce back eventually and qualify, right? But there's always going to be that question mark of if somebody can rattle them off spawn, will that affect how they play?
Yeah, we'll have to keep a close eye on them in the early game, but I'm going to be paying attention to the late game. I saw in some of those upper bracket games, they were actually trying to counter-strat Queasy and Veno off the high ground.
They've been doing that a lot. If you've been paying attention to EU Fortnite, it's been different. I think everybody associates Seti and Cammy with being this low ground team that's going to play mid-ground layers, slow down the game. But they've been looking at height. They've been playing for height, and they've been pretty effective. There were a couple games where they were flanking Queasy and Veno on height. Those guys had no clue who was in the storm, but it was Seti and Cammy. These guys are ready. They've improved their game since last year, and I think they're going to be a threat when given the chance.
That's right. A year to prepare. What did they learn? What does it mean to them to walk away as global championship winners? Take a look.
What would it mean to me to win the FNCS Global Championship? It would mean everything. To win the Global Championship, it would mean the end of the story that we started last year. And yeah, I truly hope it's going to happen.
The reason the Global Championship win will mean so much for Queasy and Veno was, of course, that second place at Invitational. And it came on the back foot of one of the bravest things we have ever seen in Fortnite.
Yeah, it takes courage to do this. It goes to show that these guys are truly winners at heart, even though it didn't pay off for them, because you only make this play if you are solely dedicated to winning, and that's what these two are. You look at their journey throughout the year, Vivid. I don't think there's been a duo that has reached a peak as high as Queasy and Veno. Their performance during Major 2 was spectacular. Never seen before in the highest levels of Fortnite. And I know for a fact they're going to be jumping in the time machine to go back to that kind of level and bring that to the competition today.
It absolutely blows my mind that I cannot count on one hand how many victory royales Queasy and Veno got in a major FNCS grand final format. They got 6 out of the 12 games. How?
I'm still trying to wonder myself. I'm still trying to figure it out. You know, their game plan was on point. It was like just nobody had an answer to what they were doing. And of course, if you do watch compared to Fortnite, you know these guys are a high ground team. They like to soar in the skies, and it's very hard to stop them when they're up there. I think the key to what's made them even more dominant force this year is the fact that they are more comfortable still when they don't get the chance to play hype, right? Because everyone tries to anti-strat against them on hype because you expect them up there, but now they're even more comfortable if they don't get hype.
Actually, yes, I love the fact that the points that you are making right there. And I want to give a shout out to Veno because I have never had more respect for a player than when I was VOD reviewing him back in Major #1. I was like, wow, this guy does everything perfectly. It looks like every single thing that he does has a reason behind it.
I mean, it does. He's just built different. That's Veno. That's Veno for you. It's the reason why he's confident. A lot of people don't like his confidence sometimes, right? They think he's a bit too arrogant, but he backs it up in the server every single time.
That's right. Well, I know you all at home and, of course, here in the arena would love to hear from them. So guess what? Frankie is standing by with the duo right now.
Well, I, for one, love Veno's confidence, especially if it means I get to talk to him right now. Let's just talk about Raleigh last year. Second place, not normally spoke about, but it's been talked about constantly ever since. Are you keen to close this chapter out today, Veno?
I mean, what's keen for us is to show that there's no rivalry and, you know, show the world what we're made of again.
What do you think, though, when you see Cammy and Seti on the high ground now? They were even going for it in the upper bracket on day 1.
I mean, they've been practicing on the high ground this season, I think, and if we're up there, they're going to be on low and they're going to place bad, so that's the plan.
And what about you? Do you still feel like a high ground king? Or are you now the flexible kings?
I'm the high ground king, 100%.
And what happens if someone comes to your high ground today and tries to anti-strat you?
We're taking it off them.
I can't wait to see players try. I'm not going to try and put any duos off going for you today. Now, talk to me about your victory royale on day 1. You set out your stall early, but you came second overall. Are you hiding things from us?
I mean, we've definitely hidden some strats, so you guys are going to see in an hour or so, but, you know, we're gonna show the world, like I said. I mean, we've definitely hidden some things, and you're going to be surprised how far ahead we are.
Do you think that Major 3 and not making the grand finals was a bit of a wake-up call for the two of you? Do you think it's pushed you harder than ever before?
Maybe. Like, that major was, like, definitely a rough time, but I think we learned from it, and hopefully we can show it now.
And you know what? 6 victory royales in the grand finals of Major #2. That's no joke. These boys, they're coming for you.
I mean, you talk about Veno being confident. Queasy's right there with them. Now, of course, they discussed this rivalry between Cammy and Seti, but what would kind of close that chapter for them?
I think that they don't believe there's a chapter there at all, right? When I've spoken to Veno and Queasy throughout the year, genuinely, they don't believe there's a rivalry. They think that they are a level above Cammy and Seti, and I think this truly is their chance to prove it. But yeah, for them, I don't think they think there's a rivalry. Veno just said it earlier. He's trying to prove there's no rivalry. We're just better than those guys.
Yeah, 100% love that. And I guess when you think about it, right, at an international event, getting second place, really the only thing that you should have a problem with is getting first place. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only thing that they care about.
A thing many of these duels we've talked about have in common is their LAN experience. And some of them have a little bit more than others. I wonder how that's going to play a factor. Well, why don't we listen to them?
I would really like to win the global championship. I think that there are certain factors that separate winning online and winning at an actual LAN. The biggest one is just your nerves and being able to control them.
It's obviously different than winning something online because there's crowd, there's people cheering for you.
Just be comfortable at your seat, you know? Like, if it's not comfortable, find a way to make yourself comfortable. you gotta be able to reset and compose yourself.
For me, it doesn't like feel like a difference anymore. Playing at like a lot of lands now, and I think I'm like one of the most experienced players.
I think for most pros, everybody plays this game to win.
When I won it in Saudi, it felt surreal. The feeling, it just felt like a dream, I'll be honest.
Definitely winning a LAN gives me a confidence, because I know I can do it.
The best moment of the last year was obviously winning Invitational.
When you win a LAN, your reputation is just, it's just higher.
I feel like Cayman said they could definitely win, but I feel like they have a lot more pressure than like everyone else.
We feel really comfortable, and we think that we have a really big chance of winning.
I don't think there's any pressure on us of winning this global championship because we don't need to pressure ourselves. It's either we win or we don't win.
I think it's just gonna be a pure competition.
I think like everyone can talk, but at the end of the day, like the actions matter the most.
No matter what tournament you play in Fortnite, people are always going to have expectations.
When you get a taste of winning that LAN, you always want to chase it again.
I want to make sure I just go out there, be confident.
I think everybody would want to win this event.
It would mean a lot to me to win this. The last like missing piece I need for my like Fortnite career.
I came here for one thing only, is to win.
It's 6 games, so anything can happen.
To whatever happens, good luck to everyone.
We'll see if their experience helps them out today, but as we continue this talk about what we're going to be viewing, let's talk about format. What has led us here? Well, we started with an upper bracket and a lower bracket, both with only 5 games each day. Now, gentlemen, the key factor here is twofold. One, we have 6 games, but on top of that, Grand Finals, we're used to 2 days, 6 games each day. Here, we only have the 6.
Yeah, it's a little bit different, and you know, we just heard Vico talk about it. 6 games, quote unquote, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I don't know how many times I've commentated 6 games events, right? And it's like you go into the last game, and the game ends, and you're like, how did this team win? Where did they come from, right? Because there are so many teams, the points will end up being so close that so many different teams are in contention, right? And hopefully for the fans, that happens today, right? You get a bit more action, a bit more intense. But for the players, it's like, you really have to make those games count, right? You can't just think, okay, it was just day 1, we reset, we've got to review, come back tomorrow. No, these are the 6 games. You don't leave this stage without there being a winner.
That's right. Again, you just can't skip a beat, right? Let's take a look at the point format. We've seen this in the last couple of days, 65 points for the Victory Royale. Top 25 will get you just a little bit of something. Obviously still 4 points per eliminations rather. But still, those mid-match objective points. 15 for Rift Island. The past 2 days, we've just seen Rift Island casually set aside. But guys, these 15 points, they could make or break a duo.
Yeah, I mean, all of the points can make a difference for sure, right? We're talking about the volatility of the 6 games, which just means that not only every single game matters that much more, but so does every single point.
Spoiler alert, game 5 and 6, Rift Island's going to look messy. Yeah, it's going to look crazy because everyone's
Don't tell them scripts, Levin.
That is the script, I'm sorry. I had to leak it.
Y'all are crazy. So let's talk about some of the, we'll talk about a couple of the contested POIs. What are we expecting to see here? So we've got a handy dandy map here. So keep in mind, these yellow circles you're seeing, that means there's 2 duos at these spots. The red, there is 3. Let's go ahead and make this easy. Racetrack, Thomas HD going up against Kanata. We saw this up in the upper bracket, and this went a certain way. Now we get the run back. What has Kanata learned, and how can we expect it to go for round 2?
Thomas HD with the home ground advantage. Kanata with a little bit of a birthday buff. I am excited to see how this one actually ends up panning out, but we kind of already saw how this is going to go, right? Upper bracket might have been a little bit of a teaser.
I think it was. And that's unfortunate for the birthday boy Kanada, but I do think what we saw from that Friday games is that Thomas HD and Malabuka are comfortable, or at least more comfortable than the NA boys when being contested. Thomas said it on Friday. no disrespect to you, Canada, or maybe full disrespect, who knows for Thomas nowadays, but I've played better players than you off spawn, right? And throughout the year, throughout the majors this year, we've seen them be contested at the racetrack, and they've still managed to put on incredible performances over 6-game formats. And so if you're Thomas HD, you're just thinking, okay, cool, we just win our 50-50s. When we get the chance to play a game, we're going to be spectacular. For Canada and ages, though, I don't know what there has been for them to learn almost, right? Because they're going right back into the ringer again here today against a top team that will be relentless every single off-spawn fight.
You know, let's be honest, right? It was pretty much a rough day for them, or upper bracket day, right? They mentioned, oh, we made it off-spawn 2 times on socials, but then the snipers came into play, right? So their games were kind of ended short. But the lower bracket run yesterday, when they were uncontested, they got 30+ points every single game. So they know that they can do it. They're coming in with a lot of confidence.
Well, we had this interview lined up on day number 1 of the upper bracket, so let's relive this moment again. Frankie is standing by with the duo. Over to you.
You say I'm standing by, I feel like I'm standing in the middle, because the 2 of these guys, Thomas, I think they might be cheering for you out there, but maybe some are cheering for Canada. Copenhagen, are you cheering for Thomas? Can I also hear if you'd like to give a cheer for birthday boy Canada, please? It's interesting because I can hear a few boos. Are you enjoying the idea of being the villain today?
I mean, like, I can't do anything. Thomas is playing home court advantage, you know what I'm saying? I mean, hopefully I got the French guys on my back today, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like what you're also saying is racetrack's his home. So why are you dropping there?
Listen, like, I got nowhere else to land. But, you know, that's just how the game is. Like, I'm just going to have fun today. I've already accepted not winning, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just going to see what happens.
You came second, though, in the lower bracket. 40th on day number 1. Thomas, you came 14th. And we need to clarify something here. When you guys had your off-spawn battles, what was the score?
I would say it's 3-2, but Canada is arguing that it's 2-2 because he died out there. But, yeah.
So I feel like you still won them because he got eliminated in the air. I think he technically gets the victory there. Canada, you're saying the game's easy when it's uncontested like yesterday. So why on earth would you want to go back to racetrack today?
I mean, like, to be honest, I don't have the respect that Thomas does in like an international land, so I can't like just go somewhere else and be uncontested, right? And I've already been landing here, and I really believe that I have the best drops at this spot. And I mean, if Thomas really could land, Thomas could land anywhere, I think, on the map. Like, unless it's not like the best teams, he would get uncontested 100%.
So you're actually backing him for the win today?
I mean, he's not backing anything. I'm just saying, like, I'm just going to try my best, right? But I'm just here to have fun.
All right, and Thomas, what about you? Because I know you've said second place isn't good enough after you missed out on winning major number 1 this year by 1 point. So what are you going to give this competition today?
I mean, we'll just try our best, like, try to get as many late games as possible and try not to get eliminated off spawn. So, yeah, we'll do our best.
Copenhagen, would you like to see Thomas and Canada do their best today? Boys, I know you're going to give them a show. Shake hands as we head back to the desk.
Canada treating it somewhat lackadaisically, right? Just saying, yeah, I've accepted defeat. I don't buy that, Canada. I feel like this is a misdirect.
I'd like to hope it is. Unfortunately, I don't think it is. Because he's been saying this for a while. Like, I asked him the week like before the tournament, he was like, yeah, I think it's over really against Thomas. And I think for anybody who doesn't really understand, that just shows you how good Thomas is, because Canada is one of the most confident and one of the best players in the world. And he thinks against Thomas HD it's over. So that just goes to show how good Thomas really is.
That is crazy. And, you know, I mean, there's no prize money, right? Okay, let's just, maybe we just take it slow. Maybe we take it a little slow. But let's shift gears here. Let's talk about Acorn going up against Pink.
I cannot wait to see what happens here, because again, it's a repeat of a battle we got to see on Friday during the upper bracket. And it's one that I'm not sure how differently it's going to go, Vivid, because Acorn and Cold, even though they were up against Pink and Vico, they still did incredibly.
Yeah, and listen, me and Levin were talking about who we think's going to win the global championship, and I was like, gosh, I really want to say Acorn and Cold, but they're contested, and, you know, my competitive side is like, oh, that's such a disadvantage in a lot of these scenarios for the teams, but then I was like, well, I mean, upper bracket day, they won, and it was the same situation. I was like, oh my gosh, wait, they won the upper bracket by 70 points, and it was the same situation.
And Pink was in disbelief almost by how impressive those guys were, because coming into the competition, Pink and Vico, they had cooked up so many different strats to try and nullify Acorn and Cold. Pink and Vico are used to being contested in this area of the map throughout the year. Acorn and Cold, on the other hand, haven't been, right? So the mentality for Pink and Vico is like, let's make it as uncomfortable for them as possible. They won't be used to it, right? They won't be able to know how to adapt. But even coming into it, using the strats he had cooked up, it still didn't phase Acorn and Cold. And after the tournament, Pink was like, I guess he's just the GOAT, because nothing phases him. I don't know what we can do to really stop this guy.
I mean, that is a lot of respect to give to somebody that you are contesting. But I mean, like, Acorn and Cold deserve it, right? Cold always talks about Acorn being the best IGL in the world. And then I think everybody knows Cold is definitely one of the best fraggers. Sometimes you just be like, hey, can you go find me an elim? It's done in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, easily. If you were going to make like a Player of the Year award and you had to have a top 3 shortlist, Cold 1,000,000% would be in that top 3 throughout the course of the year. This guy has been on a whole different level.
Absolutely. Well, I'd love to get the perspective of Pink, and who better to get that perspective than Frankie, who is standing by with him now.
It's been amazing to watch Pink and Vico over the past couple of days, because on day number 1 they came in 33rd position, but day number 2, after an epic victory royale in game number 4, they managed to race up the leaderboard to 12th, and now they find themselves in Championship Sunday. Pink, tell me about the momentum you found to take that victory royale yesterday.
It all started with the kills off spawn. So we had kills off spawn and we were feeling confident. We knew we needed a change in, I guess, confidence. So we just kept getting kills, and then it just, once we have confidence, it's kind of like over.
What happened to your confidence on day 1? I remember you telling me that Acorn and Cold were griefing you. Did you think that maybe once that was out the way, you could just focus on your game?
I mean, day 1 and day 2, it didn't really change. Day 2, we had a team landing north of us and a team landing south. So I'd say day 2 was even worse than day 1, but we still managed to make it happen.
All year you've had the same drop spot. We call it Pink Split. In fact, the community in Europe calls it Pink Split. Why do you think that teams are contesting you on it at the moment?
I mean, it's just, they land there on NA, we land there on EU. It's just a LAN. Sometimes you're con, sometimes you get lucky and you get uncon. It's nothing personal, things happen.
Do you feel prepared for off-spawn battles today?
Yeah.
And do you feel ready for the victory? Because there may be some people out there who are underestimating you, given the results so far, but it looks like you're on an upwards trajectory.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's 6 games. Anything can happen. If you have your day, you're $1 million richer. So I hope God's with you.
Well, hopefully you are going to have a fantastic day today. Thank you so much for talking to me, Pink. Now, we need to head over to the Creator Lounge, because I know Kelly Link is there with a very special friend of the FNCS.
That is right, Frankie. But this personality right here was too big for the Creator Lounge. We had to do it up on stage. Life with Panda. Thank you so much for joining me here.
Hey, listen, it is great to be here in Copenhagen. Give it up, people!
It's already been an incredible 2 days of competition. What has been your favorite moment so far?
Ooh, listen, beside hanging out with you, Kelly, I have to say the Duke 1v2 clutch, beautifully done. Or maybe that Savage Vidal finish yesterday. I don't know. So many great moments going on. I can't wait to see what's about to happen today.
Well, speaking about what's going to happen today, we're going to be crowning a champion, and I'm going to ask you the difficult question. Who do you think is going to walk away in first place?
This is not difficult at all, guys. It's Queasy and Vino. They're going to take it, redeeming themselves from the Invitational, baby. It's going to happen.
All right, Panda, any last words that you have to say before we send it back to the desk?
Well, one massive shout out to my wife. It is our 3-year wedding anniversary, and we are here in Copenhagen. So shout out to her for letting me be here.
Panda, thank you so much. Thank you all to the audience as well. Let's head on back to the desk.
Happy anniversary, Pandas. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us on your anniversary, of course. But, you know, he makes some bold claims.
I love Panda.
We all love Panda. Queasy and Veno, that is a bold claim.
Is it? Is it really bold? I think a lot of people probably expect Queasy and Veno to come out strong, right? You know, when they've been as good as they've been all year long. I think they're shooing to be a favorite today, no?
Is it finally the point where we put in our official predictions? Oh gosh, listen, I have to go Acorn and Cold. I really cannot doubt them after that day 1 upper bracket performance. I think they got it.
Okay, well, you hear what their thoughts are. Why don't we introduce your casters, get their thoughts on up to them.
Well, listen, first off, thank you, Zeke. And yeah, absolutely. I'm standing with my NA boys as well. I'm a big Acorn, Cold supporter and fan. I do think I'm leaning their way as well. Jacob, you have any hot picks?
I mean, I was on the Acorn and Cold train, but there's so many people are shouting them out. I'm going to go ahead and go with Iyamzo and Rise. They've been so consistent throughout the entire year. I call them one of the most dangerous duos in Fortnite right now, and I think they're going to show that today.
Well, listen, enough of our picks. Let's go meet these players down on the stage.
For the past year, hundreds of Fortnite duos have been competing for the chance to stand here on this stage in Copenhagen. And now just 50 remain in the running to lift the trophy, to own the Axe of Champions and call themselves the best Fortnite players in the world. Copenhagen, are you ready to see history made? You have been the most incredible audience all weekend, and I know you can't wait to give these players your all. So, for the final time this year, please, Copenhagen, please welcome your players!
The mates, Stagey and Podesai, are here. With help from their supporters, they are ready to take on the competition. Viva la France!
Let's give Grolls and Klowski a warm welcome. This duo has worked hard to get this far. It is time for them to begin aiming for nothing but the top.
Give it up for Cooper and Miro. This duo have shown they belong on the big stage. Will they be able to break through and hoist that trophy?
Yumi, Source, they're here. These two mean business with great performances. They have secured their spot here at the grand finals, but it is time to lock in.
Let's welcome Janice and Reason. The German powerhouse team is here to show what they got. This is time to prove it to the world.
Let's hear it for the Brazilian duo, Nutty and Garcera, with a great performance in the lower bracket. They are ready to represent Brazil. It's go time.
Datus and Stain, ladies and gentlemen. These guys got the skills to perform on the big stage. It's time to bring the Brazilian flair to the finals.
Let's welcome Bryce and Chubbs. You guys showed us how it's done. If you can keep up the good work, the sky is the limit. What a day yesterday.
Batman, Booga, and Rapid have arrived. These two have shown that they belong with a great performance yesterday, but it's time to do it again.
And now, Steno and Lucy. The Danish Dynamite is here. They're at the home turf. Let's hear what you got for them, Copenhagen.
That was just the first 10 duos we've seen compete here today. And I got to call them out right away. Janice and Reason, a duo that you heard Copenhagen go absolutely wild for. I want to talk about the expectations we have for the duo on the day.
Yeah, if you ain't familiar, if you ain't been round here before, let me introduce you to Janice and Reason. These guys are OGs. They've been here. They've been at the top. They've been to the mountaintop. They've seen it all. They've done it all. They've won it all. And they're going to look to try to do that again. They came so close in Major 1. Major 1 Grand Finals in the EU, they led the way after day 1, and it looked like a spot in Globals was there for them. But they didn't quite do it, and it took them all the way until Last Chance Major to finally do it. And I know they won't wait late again. They're going to come in early and try and do their thing as best as possible.
But that's what being a global champion is all about. Performing in the clutch. It is a tall task for them today. As we showed that little drop map earlier, right, where we were expecting a lot of the early game action to show. And there was a red area. That means there are 3 teams up there. And unfortunately for Janice and Reason, they are one of them.
That's right. That's just the first 10. I want to meet the next 10. So let's just jump right into it.
Give it up for Merstash and Tayson, one of the best duos to ever do it. Now it's their chance to show to the world they can do it again.
And here we have Pixie and Cheatin. This duo has showed us that they have what it takes to perform at the highest levels. And now the trophy, it's so close.
Give it up for Baila and Peterbot, 2 of the most dominant players on NA. With a championship already under their belt, they're looking to perform that here once more.
Let's welcome Crisp and Noxie. These guys have showed great consistency for a long time. Let's keep it going because guess what? It's showtime.
Kitos and P8 Zin. The Brazilian champs are here. They know the feeling of winning. Can they do it again? We know the Brazilians are cheering you on.
And now, we go in pink. They have accumulated momentum all weekend long, and now it's time to give it your all. Good luck.
Coming all the way from NA, let's give it up for Quanti and TK. They have showcased amazing skill for a long time. They are here for the finals, and that trophy is waiting.
But wait, we have Blaha and Mixon, the Polish duo. Let's make some noise. It's time to crown some new Polish champ potentially. Let's bring on the heat.
Stand up and get loud for Roban and Axforge. Making sure they only needed the upper bracket to qualify to the grand finals. Can they keep up the momentum?
Now let's hear it for Booga and Threats. These guys aren't playing around and do not plan on leaving empty-handed tonight, but will the trophy go home with NA?
With every 10, it's starting to get more real and real. The duel we wanted to highlight here was, of course, your World Cup champion, You know we had to talk about it, Vivid. Imagine the World Cup title and then slap a global championship title on that. That would be crazy.
What a career Bugha has had, teaming up with threats for this year. Coming in major number 2, a 5th place. Closing out major number 3 with a 2nd place. Not to mention Bugha himself has 3 FNCS titles. I mean, what can't he do?
One of the GOATs of this game. And I personally, as a fan, just want to see him lift a trophy on a major stage again.
Yeah.
It would be amazing.
I'm hoping, man. Of course, we've got more duos to introduce. Let's get the next 10.
This is Acorn and Cold with a dominating performance in the upper bracket. These guys are here, and they're looking to take home that trophy.
Now let's make some noise for Peppo, Clip, and Zagu. Representing for Asia, they are ready to fight for the trophy. It's time to bring your A game.
Representing the Middle East, Mshari and Rue might be the only team from their region, but that doesn't stop them from winning. These guys will do whatever it takes to succeed.
From NA, we have Thoric and Bolts proving that they can take home FNCS wins. They have championships under their belt, but can they do it one more time?
Misha and Teeny, ladies and gentlemen, do not feel safe regardless of where you drop on the map when these guys are in the lobby. They are here, and they are here to win.
Here we have iDrop and Mappy. The Scandinavian duo is now ready to bring the trophy home after qualifying hot out of day 1. Let's go.
Make some noise for Gripe and Flixie. Slowly been climbing the ranks for seasons. Now is their chance to make it big and solidify themselves among the best.
But wait, Fastrokey, Kylie, they have landed. They are here, dropping right in from the upper bracket into the grand finals. They are making an impact on the leaderboards.
A big round of applause for Muzz and Paper. These guys are used to being high up on the leaderboards, and they only needed day 1 to make it here. Now it's time to finish the job.
All right, give it up for Mr. Savage and Badil, making the lower bracket look easy. It's exciting to see if they can do it again here for the grand finals.
One step closer to games beginning. Mr. Savage and Badil, you know we got to talk about these guys. They ended first place after yesterday's lower bracket. First place from the last chance major. They have something to prove, and they're here to show it.
Talk about clutching up when it matters. I mean, I've talked about it multiple times. It's just a duo that makes sense. They're so smart. Mr. Savage has so much experience, especially on the big stage. More than 10 in-person event appearances, and then Badil teamed up with him. The mechanical prowess, it's all there.
Savage has played on stages like this as much as anybody else in the world of Fortnite. He will know, but Badil, he's been the one in crunch time this year that has really put the performances in to seal the deal. And even though there'll be pressure on him, Badil will be ready.
I'm ready. For more duos, let's get the next 10 in here.
Let's get a big warm welcome for Yopso and Rise. Consistency is key here, and they proved it all year long. Now is the time to finish what they started.
Let's hear it now for Alex and Worthy. As the only OCE team in the lobby tonight, this is their chance, and the pressure is on to take home the LAN title.
Please meet Trulex and Chicho. FNC experience and titles are plenty here. However, a LAN title is still to be secured. The opportunity is rare, but it's here. It's now.
And this is Shari and Giros coming smoking hot out of day number 1. Now they're focusing in on today. There's no time to waste. This is it for them.
Make some noise for Bobby and Larpex. First Asian team to make it to the grand finals, but they are not done yet. The trophy is within their grasp.
Pars in Baka, everyone. With a solid performance in the upper bracket, these guys have to be ready now more than ever to take it on in the grand finals.
Here we have him, Ashedes and Striker. Brazil is not to be messed around with. These guys are here to prove they can challenge everyone on the international stage.
Foil and Sphinx are not to be messed with, taking home a victory royale in the upper bracket. They are now here to show if they can do it again. Pressure is on.
Give it up for Queasy and Benno! Today's menu says comeback. Second in the Invitational, second in the upper bracket, but now it is time for a first place finish.
And here we have Kemi and Seti. These guys are used to lifting trophies this weekend. They are looking to add another one to the collection. Of all the duos here, we could say they have the most pressure.
This is getting real. Every single wave, man. A duel we wanted to highlight here from OCE, Alex and Worthy Levin. We kind of have been talking about this every time we've seen them. Worthy, a phenomenal player. Then you pair him with someone like Alex, who OCE as a whole are just like, this is our guy. I can't wait to see how they perform.
I am so excited about this duo, right? You know, it's rare we get to see some of the smaller regions step up the way they did in the upper bracket finals. 6th place is no shabby feat at all. And personally, when you look at their play styles, Alex, man, one of the most electrifying players there is in Fortnite. When he turns it on, when he decides he wants to get an LM, he's getting an LM.
Top 25 in every single game on day number 1. Can they do it again and represent OCE?
Absolutely. Arena, make some noise. Let this last wave of players hear you. Let's meet them.
Double on, Tree and Rituals are in the house. NA is their home turf, but after upper bracket, Denmark certainly looks comfy for them as well. Can they keep up the pace?
Don't blink, we have Hen and Bosque from last chance major to the lower bracket and then to the grand finals. Now they are here where they belong. All they have to do is seal it up.
Age doesn't matter for Moneymaker and for Nyan. Young and talented are key words for these guys, and now they're here to give it their all.
Vanyak and Carmi, ladies and gentlemen, fighting their way back out of the lower bracket. They are now here to prove themselves worthy as a grand finals team.
Put your hands together for Duke and Essie with an NA Major 2 title in the books and a massive clutch on the day, too. It's time to add another one. Tonight is that chance.
Here we have, straight out of Asia, Shalom and MK Papa. This team right here has popped off, making their region proud, but they need to continue to make their mark.
Welcome, Kaizen and Clement. Making it to the Global Championship Grand Finals is an achievement in itself. However, there is still plenty up for grabs for this team.
Let's hear it for Scented and Polarized. All of the FNCS experience has been put to use. It's now or never for these guys, and here they are to show it.
This is Canada and Agers dominating the AMA region and now ready to dominate Denmark. Eyes are on the prize for these guys.
Last but not least, Denmark makes some noise for Malabuka. Thomas HD. They are holding the fans high, and they're missing only one thing. That's an FNCS title. Copenhagen, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all are losing your minds. You guys are in the same place as we are. We want to see games. We are so close, but man, this feels so good. There's so much electricity in the air. You saw them start first. Reet and Ritual out of NA. We've seen them perform well. What can they do here?
We've been talking a lot about how everybody has been placing in some of these games. Well, what about the eliminations? On day number 1, both of them, a part of this duo, finished in the top 10 for individual eliminations, 10 and 11 respectively, for a combined total of 21.
They were popping off, right? And that's the kind of thing, especially when, you know, we want to see controller players represented. You know, he's a controller player. Put a throwback on for that one every day. But look, I think when it comes to how they play in this server, they need to stick to what was working with them. Be aggressive as possible when you can.
That's right, guys. I'm getting word we are so close. So let's kick it on up to Jacob PR and MDF to keep this moving.
Thank you so much, Zeke. Let's keep this show on the road. I'm so excited here. It's game 1 in just a few moments. The expectations are through the roof.
That's right, and you already know it's going to be explosive. So as we start to gear up now, let us do it, because game 1 is ready. Game number 1 of the grand finals is upon us. We already know what is in store. Nothing but explosive action and early game congestion.
Yeah, we got a couple of off-spawn fights we've seen before. We got even more than that today for the first time. And I think the crowd already knows which ones they want to see right out of the gate. It's only a matter of time before these players actually drop down on this map. And there goes the first one. The crowd, everybody's been waiting for this one. The rematch, Thomas and Malabuka versus Canada and Agers.
Canada said it. He has the best drop. He's always going to touch first, and they do just that. But Thomas HD does have a weapon as well. Canada has a side angle here onto Thomas HD, and he draws the first tags. It's a trade, but he gets the full finish, and he won't get healed. And now, Canada and Agers are on top, game number 1.
We've already seen what they can do with the freedom of their drop spot. First place throughout the day, but they ended up in second. They're looking to mimic that type of play. Cammy and Seti, even though they might have been contested to start day number 1, they were able to pull through. They pushed that team away, and now they have claimed Frenzy Fields as their own.
What an incredible set of eliminations over at the racetrack. But look, Seti and Cammy have two as well. Who would have thought they would have been contested here on the drop? So the Frenzy Fields is not safe at all.
This is a little bit of that replay. That's Datus and Stain, and a monster shot already coming out from Seti. He finishes that one. On the other side of things, you've got to imagine Cammy chased them down. A huge start for our European powerhouse.
And vamos for Kitos and PH Zin also sitting at 2 eliminations here. That means the Shady being fully contested. They win their all-spawn fight. What a grand finals this is. Already multiple teams going head-to-head. It's Finks with the clutch up on Cammy and Carmi and Vanyak there.
That is huge. Sphinx, he gets both of those eliminations. Even though Pollo did go down, he has a chance to bring him back, but in the minimap, you already see two hungry teams looking at that direction. That's third-party opportunities. One of them is going to be Reet. The other one is going to be Rituals. All over the map, these teams are going to hear these fights, Monster, and they're going to try to third-party as fast as they can. They know Surge, it's hard to come by in lobbies just like this.
This is the fastest we have seen 14 players go down of any game we've watched over this entire weekend. Who would have thought this would be the most explosive time? Let's go take a look at some eliminations here. PH Zin took on Axe Force and Robot from down low. The angles were so good, and this is how they converted.
And a little game of hide and seek with Roban. Axe Force trying to do the same thing, but he's just getting spotted out from all angles. PHN looking like a Christmas tree ornament at the top, and he definitely uncovered his presence, and that's 8 points.
His eye drop, but hold up, hold that thought. We have Podesai, we have Snazy already finding an elimination here. They're just gonna hold on to the down body, and we already know what they wanna do. They wanna keep this body up and healthy to try to farm as much Surge as possible. That's the way you play it. MA Podesai, MA Snazy have worked so hard to get here. We saw the difficult hurdle that they have to overcome just to get here.
Yeah, I think they're looking for some barrels, anything that they can use to try to keep them alive. We've already seen this strategy on day one, thanks to Zagu and Peppo Clip. It was mimicked in day two, and this is why you know teams know that Surge is going to be a hard thing. They're med-misting the down body. They're doing everything they can just to give themselves a little bit of an edge early on in this game, even using the kinetic blocks. Every single tool in their tool belt is coming out early.
Hey, listen, we know that pro players keep strategies hidden, but my gosh, everyone is putting this to use, and we have to honestly give all credits to Peppo, Clip, and Zagu for revealing it early, but I think they put this strat on the map.
Yeah. He's here. The French go very loud in the building. They like that strategy as well. And this is a fight I feel like we haven't talked too much about. Peterbot and Byla versus Bugha and Threads over towards Sanguine Sweets. In theory, it's so big, you can split this drop. There is a ton of loot, almost 100 chests, maybe a little bit fewer than that, but that allows for both of these teams to play the way that they want. One of them has already captured that vault. It's got to be Peterbot and Byla. So Bugha and Threads, instead of contesting it, they're just trying to farm up. They're just trying to get their loadout set and ready so they can make their first rotation when the zone begins to pull.
Let's not forget, Peterbot did used to play with Bugha as well, you know, so there is some history there as they're going head-to-head, but Kaizen, Clement right now looking pretty solid here, just trying to get their rotation down, pack team right on their heels. Meanwhile, Teeny potentially up against Thoric out there in the feed. We get to jump on over to Sentin and Polarized versus the youngins here, Fanyajin. Moneymaker's by himself. What can he do here?
Yeah, it was in game 5 where Moneymaker and F9 were able to qualify for this stage itself. Sentin and Polarized did it by brute forcing their way through with already one knock. It's a 2v1 situation. They're just trying to regain as much real estate as possible. All those pieces are theirs, and Moneymaker's doing what he can to bob and weave in and out of these covers, but his back is up against the wall. He's getting trapped little by little. The first elimination is going to be cleaned up, and they finally get the second. Moneymaker goes down. Polarized and Scented make a statement at their drop.
Explosive, quick, easy, and trapped, put down. Well played for Sentin and Polarized there. They're going to be happy about that. Threats lingering everywhere, though. How is this still happening? There are more fights happening. It's Muzz and Paper. This time, onto the Brazilian duo.
Muzz, a duo region champion from both OCE and NA, teaming up with Paper. Paper's probably a very, very aggressive player. He knows how to play smart as well, just a full-on balanced play style. They switched up their drop spot from Breakwater Bay. They wanted to be uncontested, but quickly find themselves in yet another fight. But you see all these teams in the minimap, they're converging on their location because they want to try to get that free surge of what they think it is.
No one wants to fall behind, but now we get to look at Teeny and Misha jumping inside. This is how Thoric was taken down there. Thoric and Bolts have a difficult task in front of them now that they have Misha and Teeny. And that's the first time we've actually seen them find early success. They were contested in those other brackets, as we saw throughout the weekend.
Yeah, in upper bracket 1, they went ahead towards the north side of the map. They tried to go against Baka and Pars. They got pushed off, and then they went into their bag of tricks. They did exactly what they did to qualify up until this point, and those tricks will continue. And how long has it been, Monster? A couple of minutes already, and they're still farming that Surge onto Striker. These guys are setting the bar high when it comes to Storm Surge. There's going to be very few teams that will be able to keep up with them if they keep at this pace.
Yeah, they're trying to get themselves well and far ahead of the competition. It's an excellent strategy, and it's hard to replicate. You have to put yourself in that position. Notice how far they had to rotate just to get there as well. So positioning for that, setting up for that is no easy feat. You have to respect it, but this is high-level Fortnite. Here we go, though. Burst Dash, Tayson. Big fight here. Chicho and Trulex on the other side of the Slappy Shores. Already gonna need a move here shortly, but Metal gotta cap out first.
Yeah, and this was another drop, or at least the south side of Slappy that was contested. Trulex and Chicho versus Quanti and TK. Either Quanti and TK rotated out fast, or they got dropped off very, very quickly by Trulex and Chicho. Find out about that later, but Acorn and Cold, probably one of the most dominating performance in the upper bracket. In the international stage, for all that matter, they're looking to try to continue that run, but right out of the gates, we knew they were contested by both Pink and Vico, and it looks like both of these teams might have decided to split the drop. It's only game 1 of 6, so that could change very, very quickly, but they're trying to feel this lobby out. It's a much different set of players than they faced in that upper bracket.
Extremely proud of what Team Dignitas and Agent have been able to put together with their rosters. The performances are amazing, and again, grand finals, of course, is what matters most. We'll see where everyone ends up, but Flixie, Gripey here, seem to have been getting into a little bit of a hustle, a little bit of a fight here against our favorite Mr. Savage and Vidil. Vidil is one of the most dangerous when it comes down to toe-to-toe battles and defending in situations like this, but there's nothing you can do against two of the best. Flixie, Gripey, they closed it out.
Yeah, and they've been battling it out almost all year long, from major qualifiers to major grand finals. Flixie and Gripey, you know what? I think they're a little underrated at this point. I think everybody who qualified for this lobby is dangerous. They need to be able to come out on top in a lot of these exchanges, and you cannot overrate any of your opponents at any stage of this game.
There's two regions I wouldn't want to go toe-to-toe in an early box fight with. It's anyone from the previous NA West, now, of course, NA, but also EU players, and unfortunately, that's exactly who are the ones asking those questions. Pixie and Cheatin', however, though, are going to fend off several pair of EU ones themselves. This is match 1 of the grand finals. Things are already heating up. 81 players remaining in the lobby, and Pixie gets punished.
That's a huge amount of damage, both of them getting dropped down low. Luckily for them, they do have the med miss at the very minimum, so they can get themselves up to tip-top shape. Mixon and Baja are the ones dealing a lot of that damage. They have the early game high ground, and they're willing to stay in Storm a little bit, even though they don't have any HP heals, because they realize how hard it is for Surge. You can find bandages, you can find berries, you can find a leftover med kit, but it's that Storm Surge that you're not going to be able to find for free.
They're very behind on material, so we'll see if they can bounce back. Duke and Edgy, what a performance we saw, arguably stealing away a moment of the weekend. The clutch from them, honestly solidifying their position, their placement here amongst the best. What are they going to be capable of here this weekend?
Duke. That clutch was just absolutely insane, and how hyped, how supportive Edgy was as well. Just shows the chemistry between these two and why they are an NA FNCS champion, why they are playing in a lobby just like this. A lot of the players here know how to win in their region. It's the international stage that takes just a little bit more effort. Kaizen and Clement quickly trying to rotate. They're one of the teams. They just don't want to get stuck too far out in the zone. And I think if any of these 2 days have shown you anything, is you don't want to get stuck behind the rest of the lobby when they're trying to hold you out. It forces you to waste your heals. It forces you to waste all of your resources just to make it into the zone very, very early on.
Super proud of Worthy and Alex, again, representing for OCE, the only team and duo from the OCE region to make it to the finals stage here, and they already have an elimination. Something to be extremely proud of. They're on the move here. Gonna get dead center zone 3 right now. They've scored 30+ points in every match coming out of day 1. And day 1, by the way, was the most difficult of the 2 brackets.
Yeah, and kind of shows how impressive it is, because Kanata and Agers did the same thing. They got second. And I believe Alex and Worthy were somewhere like 6, at least into the top 7. Reason and Yanis here. over towards Breakwater Bay, and they've been traveling a lot. What they're trying to do here is they're trying to go to the slow side of the zone where the least amount of players will be sitting, trying to hold them out. The only worry that I'm going to have for them is where they're going to get their surge from. Have they got enough with those 2 eliminations already? Because as we know, those off-spawn battles, they don't give very much Storm Surge compared to what you're going to get through the mid and that late game.
Yeah, and it's picking up the steady hands augment there as well, just waiting to really decide what direction he's going to take his augments in. You have to also now look to study those decisions moving forwards. But here we have AJS Moby, AJS Larpex, of course, joining up together here. The Rumble Ruins is their home at the moment. And they're just looking around for surge tags, nothing yet. NA options in the distance. EU options here on the mountain with Vask. What's it going to be? Here comes the Rift Island.
Ooh, this is going to get good. In day 1, we didn't see too many teams try to contest it. In day 2, it was like a house party on top of Rift Island. Everybody wanted to join, and it does look like Hen and Vasquez might be the first ones to try to contend it. They did get it in game 1 of the lower bracket, and that was a huge part of their success very, very early on. They were able to keep up the pace and eventually qualify for our grand finals here today, and they're looking to try to mimic that. And you see, there's not very many other players that are going up towards Rift Island, so that might be a free 15 points and very, very valuable slurp juices.
Exactly. For those of you in attendance here, for those of you looking back at this island is worth 15 points if you can secure the objective. It is going to draw in the lot of the players. If you can get 15 points, that is the equivalent of 3 or 4 eliminations worth of points there. So it really can set you very far ahead. This becomes a very interesting time to play the game now for Miro and Cooper, because they have decided they want to fight for it, and they are a very dangerous team when it comes down to them making a decision and sticking to it. They'll commit.
Yep, does look like, though, Vasquez and Hen were able to capture it. They were there first. If there's 2 people going ahead and capturing it, it goes much faster than if it's just a solo. So Cooper and Miro, they're ready for that extra prize, the alternative, the height, the elevation. That way they can get Surge. But Peppo, Cliff, and Zaku in another fight against Rue and Mshari over on the other side, just battling for those pieces. Mshari just sitting high up on that mountain. He's not really worried about his teammate. He trusts him to play safe, and that's a massive amount of trust in a lobby just like this.
I can't believe it. I can't believe he didn't go down there to try to support. He says, hey, man, you have this. Defense comes out of Rue, plays very well, and now they're above this Surge as Mshari is finding tags here in the process, too. Meanwhile, Zagu Peppo, 475 damage above the Surge. They are in an excellent position right now. They shouldn't have to move any much further.
Yep, in the feed, though, I did see Kanata go down. I saw Mishi go down.
Ooh, here.
Yeah. And that's the battle that they were having. You see Agers is solo against Teeny over on the other side. Steno and Lushi might possibly be looking to take advantage of this opportunity, but that's Acorn and Cole down their sights. They know 23 above the damage threshold. It's enough to not have to worry about Storm Surge actually doing damage, but it's not enough for comfortability. So they're on the hunt for even more, but they're just on the receiving end of so many other players trying to put their hand in the cookie jar.
One of those duos is Acorn and Cold. Agers here, of course, trying to extract revenge now as Kanata was taken out. He still finds himself very comfortably in the safe zone here, so he'll be all right. Even has some extra heals, of course, remaining. It's going to be pretty tough to play this one out. Yes, they have 2 elims. We have to see how Teeny turned that fight around. You have to wonder what went wrong. Kanata caught out, looking for tags and low on HP. Teeny and Misha waste no time finding that one.
Immediately, and they are well above the damage threshold as well, giving themselves a good and early start. But Queasy and Veno, they know how to play almost every facet of the game, early, mid, and late. They made some quick rotations over towards Kenjutsu Crossing, and they're probably one of the most deep teams that land on that side of the map. They're over towards Shattered Slabs now, 193 above the damage threshold, and you can see that they're not necessarily going over towards Rift Island because they know in these next couple of zones, it's going to pull away from Rift Island. So they don't want to get too close, then have to rotate far if it does pull max.
You know what? We haven't seen a zone like this. Hard west, full west, right? Really giving teams on this side an opportunity to have the advantage and start off strong. Momentum is everything, and sometimes all it takes is securing that first game. Teeny goes for the save in the zone here, so Misha will potentially be picked up. Possibly will be able to situate and get back into this, but not crossing my fingers here. It's a very difficult thing to bounce back when you start off with nothing.
Yeah, and they're just outside of that Rift Island position where the majority of the lobby already is. So they're just going to have to figure out what they're going to do to rotate, because going straight in is going to cause for some dangerous situations for them to try to survive. So they need to be looking for some heals, so that way they can go the long way around, find some safety, and just simply get into the zone. But Pink and Vico here, you can see the split. We talked about a contested drop, but they actually choose to go their separate ways. They're 225 above the damage threshold, and they're looking safe for now. They're trying to figure out what their rotation is going to be. It is a pretty far rotation, but not too far from some of the other players here in this lobby. The first knock is going to get cleaned up. Steno is there by himself. But you can see they're not getting greedy. They're not just trying to bulldoze for it and try to grab that loot. They're just saying, hey, let's just grab the surge. That is going to be enough, but they get a crest on momentarily. That was bold to try to make magic happen, but he goes out like a light.
That's crazy. He tried to time that, and it just backfired completely as another team also started to look inwards, and they pick up a set of eliminations there. What a huge point swing for Pink and Vico there. Meanwhile, in the feed, Peterbot down, Booga down, Trulex. So many exchanges here to catch up on, and the landscape is changing right before our eyes.
Pink in the feed getting Steno as well. Him and Lucian look like they probably went down. That was 3 straight eliminations on that side of the map.
Yeah.
Threats being a solo, though. I'm not really worried about Threats being a solo, because he clutched up big for their qualification spot. He got a 2nd place. They had 9 eliminations as a duo. Now he has to do it with a surge just hovering over his shoulders.
A lot of players on the move right now. If you look at that right map, all of those arrows flying are teams trying to navigate their way to the new zone. You do have to be very cautious. Take a look, though. Rise tries to go in with a hero's play here, finds Cold, but Acorn is there to back him up. But Rise slips out of there without getting taken down, so he finds Cold and gets right on out.
I feel like that was perfect timing with Acorn
Wow.
trying to plan an escape. And they just bulldoze their way right in. You can see why. Barely being 118 above the damage threshold. At that stage of the game, they were probably below. So they needed to go ahead and pad that stat. Now they have Cammy and Seti in their lines of sights. They don't have to move far. They got the half and half zone. So for them, it's just a sit and wait scenario that allows them to be consistent. But there's so many superstars around them. I already mentioned Cammy and Seti. Queasy and Vino are to their right. So this is a dangerous area of the map to be in. But I think it's a little bit more safer than all those players just to the north outside of zone.
Yeah, looking pretty dicey right now for sure. But if you're a Yam Zone Rise, you're pretty happy that there's not that much going on around you. They can kind of determine who they're going to battle next. Alex and Worthy also comfortably positioned at the safe zone here. Jump on over to Seti and Cammy. 2 eliminations so far from the start. Nothing else since then, but we haven't saw problems this time around with the surge, so they are in a very, very sweet spot here right now. Also, just nestled so nicely here. And look, they can look down on players trying to come out the low ground.
Yeah, so many big names are already out of this lobby, and we haven't even been given placement points just yet, so there's still so much work to do. You can't get behind that curve as Cammy and Seti feeling like they're comfortable in their position for now, waiting for all those players to try to rotate in. MK, Papa, and Shalom looking like they might get a sneak attack onto Podesai and Snazy. They just need to be patient here. They go for the 3-2-1 onto the cover. No shots actually go through to Podesai. That gives them information of where they're located at. So they're going to about face and go a little bit of a different direction now.
It's like Rapid lost his teammate, Batman Booga, as he's not nearby to the hands of him, Shari, not too long ago. Here's Papa. Here's Shalom, though. Still looking around, playing the bush. Very nicely done. Everyone else is nestled pretty far off, so we get to jump in with Vino and Queasy, see how they are doing. A little update, a single elimination, so not really turning online too far yet as far as the overall heal situation. I'd say they're middling in the pack. Material count-wise, is it enough for them to play for high ground? I think yes, and they're probably thinking we should go for it.
Yeah, they're probably just gathering all the information around the map for now. Figure out what's the best position, who's already on height, how do we chop